Hey there, it's Megan Avery, and I'm going to do a quick little paper plate weaving video. We've got the supplies up on the screen. They're also down in the description if you want to take a look at that. But basically, I'm taking my stack of 5 paper plates, and I'm going to start with my first mark, and then directly across from it, I'll do a second one. And then I want 2 more right in between those. So the 4 equidistant points on this paper plate. And then basically I'm going to wind up with 12. So I want 2 in between each of these 4. And there's going to be 12 in total. When in doubt, look at a clock. That will help you. You basically just want 12 spots on your stack of paper plates. Now, I decided to reinforce mine with some Scotch tape. It kind of tapes the 5 paper plates together and reinforces where I'm about to cut. I feel like it just makes it a little bit sturdier, but if you're using like a thicker paper plate, you probably don't need to do this. So I'm just taking a piece of tape and putting it on each of the little points that I drew on the paper plate. And then I'm folding it over to the other side so it reinforces the back as well. And then I'm taking my scissors and making about a 1/2 inch snip on each of the marks that I made on my paper plate. So I have 12 in total. Now I'm going to cut 6 pieces of yarn. Doesn't matter what color or thickness, just whatever you want to start with. Cut 6 pieces that are 16 inches long and put those aside like I'm doing here. Next, we're going to take the first one and have it go from one side straight across to the other side. And we're going to do that with all 6 pieces of yarn since there are 12 points on the paper plate. Tuck those into the little snips that you made and flip it over, and then you're going to tape the ends of the yarn to the plate. Notice how there's sort of long, extra long, kind of hanging off. That's why 16 inches works really well on these 8-inch plates. And then I'm going to grab my first yarn that I'm going to weave with on my paper plate loom and just wrap it around my hands about 20 times, or my 3 fingers about 20 times. Find the end. Tie a knot on that first spoke like I'm doing here and just make it go to the middle. Then we're going to go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. Now, every time you come around to the where you started, you're going to do 2 unders, and that's going to alternate the under over on each of your spokes. Since you have 12 spokes, that's an even number, so it's not going to alternate unless every time you go around, you do 2 under in a row. And this does not matter where. And it honestly, if you forget, it's okay. Just keep going in your under over sequence. And then when you run out of yarn, like I did on my navy blue, I'm going to tie on my new yarn. And I'm just going to do that by tying a double knot and cutting the ends that are hanging off. And then instead of trying to over under with this giant ball, I'm just going to take a little bit off like I'm showing you. And then around my 3 fingers, I'm just going to wrap it so it's a smaller little bunch of yarn that I can easily go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. And here I'm going under, under. See how I did that? I got around to the other side and I did 2 unders. And again, this is there's no it's not going to work if you don't do this correctly. But if you want to have that nice alternating, just look at the last time you went around. If the last time you went, you were under, the next time around, just have it go over. That's it. And then once you run out of that color, tie on a new color, or you can do this with the same color the entire time too. I just happen to alternate here. I'm just going to take a bunch off of that bigger ball and then wrap it around my fingers so I can get it to go over, under, like I'm showing you here. And then once the green starts, you'll notice the green is a little bit thinner than my white, and that's okay. It's just not going to fill as quickly. But I liked this green color, so I wanted to use it. You just do a little bit more. I happened to run out there and decided I want to put a little more white on. And then again, snip those ends and pull a bunch off that you can wrap around your finger and go, you guessed it, under, over, under, over, under, over. And then we keep going. And here I did 2 unders because I got back to where I was. And anytime you have that like knot and it's kind of sticking out like that, just tuck it. All right, my last color is this really thick, beautiful gray that I love. And I'm tying a double knot and I'm snipping it. And I'm just gonna pull some off, not a ton because I'm almost at the end. Snip it, wrap it around my 3 fingers so I can get it to easily go over under on my loom. It's a little thicker, but we make it work. Go all the way around and just continue. I love how this is looking. Oh my gosh, gorgeous. Okay, when I come to the end, I'm just gonna wrap it around the last spoke and tie a double knot and leave a little tail so you can tuck under. I think it hides it a little better. Now flip it over, pull the tape off the ends of the loom yarn and all the way around and just kind of remove that tape and throw it away. Pull the loom yarn out of the little spokes of the plate and you are going to tie those together. You're going to take 2, the first 2, tie those in a double knot. Doesn't matter where you start. And the next 2, tie those in a double knot and just keep going around and tying these pairs of the loom yarn in a double knot. And I'm going to save the 2 that I feel like are the longest. Those 2, I think I'll save those to hang it. Tie these last 2. And then once those are all double knotted, I'm just going to snip the ends so we can tuck them out of the way. Snip, snip. And a snip, snip. And we've got, the last color, snipped that, snipped these last 2, and then the last 2 strings that are kind of long, I'm just gonna do a little knot at the end, snip the ends so they're even, and then you can use that to hang that if you want. And there you go, a cute little decoration that we wove ourselves with a paper plate.